Well, a very good morning from Reykjavik and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing one of the most popular excursions, the Golden Circle Tour. So keep watching until the end to see whether the volcanic eruption affected our day and also to see if we would recommend a coach tour to the Golden Circle.
Well, we made it onto our bus. It was, I would say, not very organised chaos this morning. You can see Jen. So we are with Reykjavik Excursions and doing the Golden Circle Tour. That was absolute chaos. People queuing to get onto the coach. But now we're all good. So I'm looking forward to the day.
The reason we chose this tour was because we'd seen it recommended in one of the Facebook groups. We needed to find a tour which would fit around the arrival and onboard times of the ship, which did limit us slightly. This tour was called the Golden Circle Direct Tour and it was a 6.5 hours. It stopped at the Thingvellir National Park, the Geysir Geothermal Park and the Gulfoss Waterfall. It cost us $185 for the three of us and there was no charge for under sixes, which was great. The Princess excursion was $350 per person, but it did include lunch and was 8 hours long. We had to reschedule our tour because the date of our call was changed, and this was handled with no problems at all. The tour itself covers approximately 150 miles, so whether you do this excursion on the coach or independently in a car, you should expect to spend a reasonable amount of time driving. It took about an hour in the coach to get to Thingvellir National Park and it was a very scenic journey. The national park is of major cultural significance to Icelanders as it was a place where the parliament was founded in the year 930 and amazingly it remained there for 868 years until 1798. The spectacular landscapes in Thingvellir are in part due to it being in a divide between the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates. The plates are drifting apart a few millimetres a year, so the gorge is getting bigger. Now that takes me back to geography lessons a very long time ago. There was a wooden walkway you could walk along, which took you into the Almannagjá Gorge. That is really tricky to say. If we'd had a little bit more time here, it would be an absolutely amazing place to hike and explore, and you can even go scuba diving or snorkeling there. There was also an interactive visitor centre which wasn't included on our tour. Although we were the only cruise ship in port on the day that we visited, perhaps because it was Sunday and also during the school holidays, it was exceptionally busy and you had to keep moving along the path as there were people in front and behind. We enjoyed our visit here, but we're ready to move on. The next stop on the tour was at Geysir Geothermal Park. This park is famous for the fountains of boiling water that shoot into the air. The original geyser doesn't really erupt anymore, but Strokka nearby erupts every 10 minutes or so.
Let's go under a bit. I want to get down. I'm going.
I definitely recommend walking up a bit further because it feels like everyone kind of congregates in that first place where the geyser shoots up, and then once you start to walk along, the crowd thins out a bit. It's much nicer. Yeah, so like I was saying, once people start to spread out a little bit, it's much nicer. It says that these are 80 to 100 degrees, so nearly boiling. This is a blue pond. So we've got this viewpoint that's about, I'd say, halfway up, and then up there you've got the full way up. I think if we were on our own, we would probably navigate it, but I think this might be as far as we're going to go. So we're going to take a look and see what's in the Geysir Centre, visitor centre. See if we can find somewhere to get a coffee and some cake.
It was a very large gift shop, in fact one of the largest I've seen for a while, but it was absolutely heaving with people. So we made the decision to find a toilet and then have a look to see what food we could get as a takeaway. They actually had a really good choice of different food that you could buy, including hot and cold meals, sandwiches, snacks and coffees. The cafe prices were actually very reasonable for Iceland.
So we decided it was far too crazy in there, so we got some coffees, a cookie and a delicious piece of apple pie, and then we came and found a bench to sit on that was a bit less crazy. And actually when you look, you got a nice view as well. So here at the Gulfoss Waterfall, we've got two choices, either the easy way or the way that's 110 steps down and 110 steps back. We're going to try the 110 steps. So at least on this bit, the path is concreted and it's relatively easily descending. And this is where it forks to the left or the right. So we'll go down the steps. As you start down the steps, you get sight of the waterfall. I'm already getting wet.
We didn't walk all the way down to the bottom of the path, as it would have been a long way for Milo to have gone, but we could see absolutely plenty from where we were. The Gulfoss Falls were absolutely spectacular, and I'm so glad that we came here. Although we've been to Niagara Falls a few times, there was something about the rugged beauty of Gulfoss that just made them even more spectacular. So they might not be the biggest, but they're certainly one of the most impressive I've seen.
And now we've just got to climb the 110 steps back up again. Okay, better start counting then, right from the bottom. To be fair, they're quite good steps, and they're not too steep. And there are quite a few places to stop on the way up as well. So I think most people will be okay. What did you see, Milo?
A canyon.
A canyon, so we just walked around the side of the visitor centre just to spot out some bits and found this canyon.
Yeah.
What did you say a canyon was?
Really big hole.
Yeah, that's true. And look, there's nobody here.
There was also a visitor centre here, but we didn't go into this one. We took a few minutes to marvel at the rugged beauty of the landscape here and to take some final photos. As this was the last place to visit on our Golden Circle tour, we started a drive back to the port. Gulfoss was the furthest of our stops, so it took about an hour and 45 minutes to get back to the port. It was actually quite a scenic and interesting drive, and our guide pointed out many points of interest on the way. He did an absolutely amazing job. Overall, we really enjoyed our Golden Circle tour. I think the one thing I would say is that you need to be prepared for it to be very busy, even if there is only one ship in port. Now that's not a complaint, it's just, so you can manage expectations. With hindsight, we would have preferred to do a small group tour, and it was my research that hadn't realised that this would be a large coach tour. To be fair though, considering how expensive Iceland is, I thought this coach tour offered extremely good value for money. I think because we missed 2 of our 3 ports in Iceland, we felt like we hadn't actually seen a lot of the country at all. So for example on this tour we didn't have time to stop in Reykjavik city centre. The bonus of this is that it gives us a really good reason to go back to Iceland and spend a few days there. If I went back to Reykjavik, I would hire a car for the day, in the summer months at least. Now I can't wrap up this video without saying something about the volcanic eruption that was happening when we visited. Before we left for the cruise, we did wonder whether the volcanic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula would affect our port stop. As we sailed out of Reykjavik, we had a spectacular view of the volcano at dusk. You couldn't quite believe what you saw. It was the 6th time in 2024 that the volcano had erupted. It has now finished on September the 5th. Later on that evening, after we'd gone to bed, the bridge relayed a message to our cabin that the northern lights were making an appearance, so we rushed to go out and have a look and see what we could see. It was really difficult to get good photos, but I did manage a couple of not very good ones showing both the volcanic eruption and the northern lights at the same time. It was absolutely amazing. We really enjoyed our day in Reykjavik and would love to return to Iceland to explore a bit more independently, especially as we only had the one day there. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We've got lots of cruise and other adventures that you definitely won't want to miss.